So you've been thinking about buying your first home. You've been doing a little bit of research online, but you still want to get a little bit more information about the home buying process. So in this video, we're going to be going over the home buying process. I've seen a lot of YouTube videos about this, but none of them really explain the whole entire process throughout. So in this video, we're going to be focusing on what you need, how to get started, what lenders look for, what you should be preparing, documents, proof of income, credit, and all the things that you will need to get you prepared. So you can have more knowledge for the buying process, which will save you thousands of dollars and will save you lots of headaches. So stay tuned and watch to the end. You don't want to miss any of it. What's going on, guys? Welcome to my channel. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Hans Weisfeld. I'm a real estate agent in Miami with Keller Williams. And in this video, we're gonna be going over the whole buying process so you can have a better understanding of what to look for and what you need in order to get started. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please consider doing so. I come out with really cool videos about Miami and about real estate. So make sure you show some love and you subscribe and click that bell button. All right, now let's get started right now. So the first thing you're gonna wanna do is really sit down with a notebook, with a pen or a pencil, and start writing down your why. The most important thing is gonna be why. Why do you wanna buy your first home? Why do you wanna buy a home? That's the first thing I tell all my clients. Like, why do you wanna buy? I just wanna understand, and I just want that person to understand. When you see things in a piece of paper and you start writing them down, some things change and other things come up. So it's very important to actually have it in a piece of paper, have it written down. This will also guide you to why you want it, what you want, and just your goals. So it's gonna make your whole life a lot easier. For example, do you wanna buy this property because you wanna start a family there? Do you wanna buy this property for investment reasons? Maybe you wanna live there for 1 year or 2 or 3 and then be able to rent it out. Or maybe you wanna find something at a great price and then you want to start, fixing it up, and then you want to resell it in 2 or 3 years and make some profit from that? Do you want to buy in the specific neighborhood because you feel and you can speculate that the prices in that neighborhood are going to increase, they're going to appreciate a lot more than other neighborhoods? Do you want to buy a property to start building your real estate portfolio so you can start accumulating properties? But again, the main point here in step 1 is finding out exactly why you want to buy that property and what do you want from that property after you have it. Again, this is a very important subject because a lot of people go into the buying process and they buy a home without ever asking themselves, why do I want a property? And then they're with the property and then they're kind of still lost or confused, like they didn't plan out correctly. So again, when you plan out right and when you plan your goals and your future ahead of time, this can save you lots of headaches. It can save you thousands and thousands of dollars, and it can save you a lot of other things. So just like everything in life, make sure you write it down, make sure you understand your reasons why, and make sure you understand your goals. So now that you know why you want to buy your first property, let's get to the next step. The next step is gonna be, can you actually afford a property right now? Can you actually afford a home? Do you have an income? Do you have a little bit of money saved up? Is your financials good? How is your credit? There's a lot of things that go into this next part, right? Are you capable? Is it feasible for you to buy a home? The reason why you need to ask yourself this and why I'm asking you this is because, hey, if you have no money saved up, if you don't have a job right now, or if you just are not financially capable of owning your own place, then why even get started? If you want to watch the video and you want to understand a little bit more about the home buying process, then by all means, good for you. Learn about it and have some knowledge by all means. But really, if you're not prepared financially, then it may not be the right time for you. You need to be prepared financially, guys. I'll go into more detail of what it really means to be prepared financially and what lenders look for, but just to give you some a basic idea, you need to have income, at least 1 or 2 years, you need to have decent credit, you need to have a little bit of money saved up. Without those things, it's gonna be a little bit more difficult. All right, so you know your finances are good, you have a steady income, you have decent credit, and you're ready to rock and roll. The next step is gonna be talking to a lender and getting pre-approved. It is very important to talk to a lender. Maybe you already have one, maybe you have a bank that you have a really good relationship with and they can help you out. Maybe your real estate agent has a lender that he works with and trusts and he has done already some transactions with, so he can refer you to them. But if you don't yet have one, there are thousands of lenders and mortgage brokers in the country, and it's very easy to get in touch with one to help you out, and it costs you nothing, zero, zip. So why not get started the right way? So the reason you want to start off by talking to a lender is gonna be because they're gonna be able to see your whole financial situation, your whole credit history, how much money you have saved up. They're gonna be able to see everything exactly in detail. So if you are missing something or if you need to get something, they're gonna be able to tell you. They're gonna be able to show you and explain to you what you need to do in order to get to that next step. So let me tell you the basic things that lenders look for. So the number one thing that lenders are gonna look at is gonna be your income. Of course, they wanna make sure that you're gonna be capable and able to pay a loan, right? That you have income coming in. They wanna see consistently the same line of job for at least 2 years worth. So some people ask me, hey Hans, I was a chef at one restaurant, then I was a chef in the other restaurant. Or I worked in one hotel, then I went to another hotel. Or whatever the case may be. If it's in the same industry, if it's in the same line of job, then from my understanding, from my knowledge, and from my experience, they accept that. They'll look into it, but it should be fine. Again, I am not a lender. I am not a mortgage broker. I am just a real estate agent, and my knowledge is into helping people buy and sell, not getting loans for people. So I'm just telling you a little bit of my experience, what I've gone through and what I've learned. So again, if you have the same type of line of job, then it should be fine. Just make sure with your lender. If you have been in your job for many years, then it's gonna be easier. If you're self-employed, it gets a little bit trickier and a little bit more complicated. As long as you've been, you've had that same job for 2 years, or you had your company for at least 2 years, then, they can work it out. You need to speak to them. They're gonna look at your tax returns and all that good stuff that I don't know too much about, but you should be fine. Now, a very good question that a lot of people ask me, Hans, I've only been in my job 1 year, or Hans, I just started my company 1 year ago. Keep in mind that there are some programs. Not every lender accepts it, but there are some programs. It's called a 12-month bank statement program loan. At least down here in Florida, there's many lenders that use it. I'm sure other states the same thing. You're gonna be able to use your bank statements for the last 12 months. So it's a type of special financing program that they can go based out of that 12-month bank statements, and that's gonna be your income. Again, if that is the case for you, make sure you speak to the lender and you see if you can qualify, and you see if they even have that program available. But it is a possibility. So business owners, do not worry. Now keep in mind, in that program, interest rates are higher and they want a higher down payment. Of course, because it is a little bit riskier. You only have 1 year bank statements. So it totally makes sense. So after the income, the next thing they're gonna look at is gonna be your credit. The minimum credit requirements for some loans is 580. Some programs and some lenders go even less than 580, but from my understanding, they're gonna want more down payment, and they're gonna increase your interest rates. So make sure you work on your credit. Work on your credit is the most important thing, because the higher your credit, the lower your interest. And the interest makes a lot of difference in your monthly payments and in the longevity of the 30-year loan. So make sure you work on your credit as much as you can. Most lenders out there have a system. It's like a simulation of what your credit will be if so-and-so was paid off, if so-and-so was deleted from your credit. So they kind of input your whole credit in there, they kind of mess with the numbers, and they're able to tell you exactly and specifically what you should be paying, what you should be aiming at, so your credit could increase higher. So there are a few strategies that lenders use. Also the credit repair people, there's tons of them out there. They can help you fix your credit quickly as well. And from my experience with credit repair people, it takes anywhere from 3 to 6 months to increase your credit significantly. So it's totally worth it and you should do it. Even if you have great credit, why not work on it and get it even better? The next thing that lenders are gonna be looking at is gonna be your debt. So that's gonna determine how much you can borrow. So they're gonna get your income and your debt, which is called your income to debt ratio. Based out of that number is gonna be the number of how much you can actually borrow. So they're gonna look at all kinds of debt that you have under your name. They're gonna look at credit cards, they're gonna look at automobile loans, they're gonna look at medical loans, they're gonna look at student loans, anything that you have under your name. That old phone bill that you might have, the old electricity bill that you might have there on your name. All of that is your debt and they are taking that into consideration. So please make sure that you lower your debt as much as possible. But wait, make sure before you start paying down all these debts, make sure you speak to your lender or your credit repair person. They're gonna be able to tell you specifically what you should be paying and how much. I don't recommend you going on your own and start paying random things. Lenders and credit repair companies have special systems that will tell you what you should be paying off. So again, use strategies, be smart, be wise with your money, and speak to a professional. Also keep in mind that as with income, you can use anything that is actual income. For example, Social Security, disabilities, child support, any type of extra income. So any type of extra income that you or your spouse has, you can use that as your income, which can overall increase how much you are allowed to borrow. So if you have something like that, make sure you let your lenders know. So the last thing that lenders are gonna be looking at, they're gonna ask you is gonna be for down payment, how much money you have saved up. Typically, for first-time home buyers, you can put down 3.5%, which is a typical FHA loan. There are other costs involved. This is just the down payment. We'll talk about all the other things afterwards. So you're gonna need 3.5 of the purchase price. So the lenders are gonna wanna make sure that you have this money and you also have closing costs and a little extra cushion for reserves. Keep in mind that the down payment money you can get as a gift from a relative. So if you don't have the down payment money, but if you know someone that has it in your family and they want to let you borrow or they want to gift it to you, you can use that money. Just make sure you speak to your lender so they can advise you a little bit better on that down payment money. There's also a lot of first-time homebuyer programs that assist with the down payment money. Some of those programs do take a long time to get. Some of those programs are very specific based on your income and your credit and your history. So some are a little bit more difficult to get, but you should see with your lender. Sometimes lenders have their own programs to help out first-time home buyers. Sometimes they can help out with down payment or they can help out with a portion of it. So make sure you speak to your realtor and your lender to see what kind of programs they have at the moment. Also, I forgot to mention one thing. When you do get approved and you get the pre-approval letter from the lender, make sure you see not how much you qualify for, but what your monthly payments should be looking like. Why do I say this? I have seen this happen often, where the lender, let's say, approves the person for $300,000, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you can afford a $3,000 house. Because that $3,000 house could be in a very expensive neighborhood with the taxes are $10,000 in comparison to a $300,000 house in a neighborhood where the taxes are only $2,500. That difference could pretty much potentially kill that deal. So again, you don't want to fall in love with a property that's amazing and then you end up not being able to qualify for it. So again, make sure you pay attention to what numbers, what monthly payments you should be looking at with your mortgage, your insurance, your taxes, and whatever else you're gonna need. So make sure you know that number. It can be $2,000, $2,200, $1,800, whatever number that is. Make sure you go more based out of that number than on the price of the property. This can save you lots of time and money. All right, so after you spoke to the lender and you have everything and you're ready to rock and roll, now it's time to find an agent if you don't already have one. Just keep in mind that when you're looking for an agent, it's pretty much you interviewing them. Because remember, you're about to buy the biggest asset in your life, or at least one of the biggest. So you want to make sure you have someone that represents you and your best interest at all times. So why not interview a few agents? Now, regarding the topic of interviewing agents, it's going to be a whole nother video. So I don't want to talk too much on that. Just make sure you have someone that's gonna represent your best interest, that's professional, that's full-time, and that will be there for you at all times. So after you've spoken to a lender, you got a pre-approval letter, and you got an agent, it's time to start doing the best part of it all. Searching for the right home. Now, searching for the right home could take anywhere from 1 day to a few months. It really depends on what your market offers. It really depends on how picky you are, which it is a big investment that you're buying. So you can be as picky as you want. You just gotta make sure that you're realistic. There's a lot of people out there that are very, very picky, but they're also not realistic. So a property with their criteria never comes on the market. So let's say that in your city, the medium price range is $350,000 for a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom. You cannot go and expect to pay $250,000 for that home. That is being unrealistic. You will take forever to find that. So you're gonna either have to lower your criteria or change something around so you can actually get something that you want. Also, it's very important to know how the market is doing in your specific city. Is it a buyer's market or is it a seller's market? Do properties go under contract as soon as they come on the market, or do they take a long time to actually sell? Again, how long does it take for a property to go under contract? The reason why this is important to know is because you're going to know how much you can negotiate on the price of a property. If you know that homes are getting sold quick, if you know that homes are getting tons of offers and they're going into a multiple bidding scenario, then you know that if you offer a lot less, you're most likely not gonna get that property. Now, if in your city, homes are staying for a long time, they're not selling very quickly, then maybe you have more negotiation room there. So just find out how your market is doing and then what kind of market you're in your city. So after you're ready, so after you've spoken to a lender, you have a pre-approval letter, you're with your agent looking at properties already, you know what kind of market you're in, you know your criteria and what you want in the house. So usually at this point, it's very important for your realtor to sit down with you and go over the whole buying process. Don't just go based on the research that you did online from watching videos like this one and reading online. It's very important to go into what we call a buyer's consultation, where you're gonna sit down with your realtor and he's gonna go over how the market is doing, how the whole process is gonna be, what kind of communication you expect, what kind of communication they expect, the whole expectation of the process of the deal itself. It's very important for all of you guys to be on the same page. Communication is key. It can cost you headaches, it can cost you time, and it can cost you money. So it's very important to do a consultation with a professional agent. Also guys, keep in mind that when you're working with an agent, us as real estate agents, we do not get paid unless the property sells, unless we close the deal. So that person could be working months with you and on your behalf and to have the best interest at heart. So just keep that in mind and keep that in your conscience, that all the hard work that they're putting in, they're not getting paid for unless the property closes. So if something does happen and you don't really like the way this agent works, or there's something you don't like about them, then by all means, call them, text them, email them, and let them know how you feel and that you no longer want to work with that person. There are 2 million real estate agents in the United States, so there's tons of them everywhere, but just be mindful of that. So now you're searching for properties, you find the home that you like so much. The next step is gonna be to make an offer. Your real estate agent is gonna be able to make the offer for you. All he's gonna need is pretty much how much you wanna offer, how much you wanna put down, if it's gonna be cash or if it's gonna be financed, when is the expected closing date, where you're gonna put down the escrow money. For those of you that don't know what the escrow money is, it's also called good faith deposit. The good faith deposit is where you're gonna go and put down 3 to 10%, depending on purchase price, depending on what you agree on. And pretty much it means that, hey, you are interested in the property, you're putting money down in escrow. That's why it's considered a good faith escrow deposit. Now, each state is different. It varies by state by state. Down here in Miami, we go to an escrow account and they will hold that money. So that's pretty much everything that goes on the offer. You're pretty much gonna go send that to the seller or the seller's agent, and one of 3 things is gonna happen. They're either gonna accept it, they're gonna reject it, or they're gonna counter offer. So depending on what happens, you're gonna go with your realtor, talk about it, and take the necessary decision. So let's say your offer is accepted and we're moving on to the next step. The next step is going to be, again, put down the deposit and also hire an inspector to go and inspect the property. Inspectors down here in Florida, they cost around $400 or $500. I'm not sure what other states charge, so just make sure with your realtor how much it can cost you. So pretty much an inspector is gonna go in there and they're gonna be able to check everything in the property. They're gonna be able to check the outlets, the water, the plumbing, the electrical, the roof. So they're pretty much going to tell you everything that is wrong with the property. And then based on that, you're gonna go with your realtor and you guys are gonna sit down and see if you wanna move forward with the property, or if you want the seller to fix a few things, or if you wanna take it as is. So this is a very good time to be able to negotiate again with the sellers. During this time is when you can ask for them to help you out with closing costs. They can give you credits towards closing, so less money comes from your pocket and other things. Just make sure you talk to your realtor on what the best thing you can do regarding the inspection if you have found something wrong with the property. So if you're happy with the property and you're taking it as is, there's nothing wrong with it, the next step is going to be that the lenders are gonna send out an appraisal. So the lenders are gonna wanna make sure that they're giving you the money that is actually worth. So that's what an appraiser does. They're gonna go out there and appraise the property. They're gonna do comparables, and they're gonna do whatever they do to determine the value of that property that you're getting. They are not gonna let you borrow more money than what it's actually worth. So also, this is where your professional real estate agent comes in handy, because that real estate agent can gather information and comparables based on their research and pass that on to the appraiser, so the appraiser could see and get a better understanding of how the real estate agent came up with that price. So I have found that this helps a lot, because sometimes the appraiser is not from the area and they may not know that that little pocket that you're buying in is a lot more expensive or a lot cheaper than the next pocket over. And since that appraiser is not from that area, they may not know, and they may appraise the property for a different value than what it's actually not worth. So they can be wrong. So again, it's very important for the real estate agent to communicate with the appraiser and give them their comparables so that they can see how they determine their price. So after you inspected, after you put down the deposit, and after they get appraised, the next step is that some lenders will send out a survey. They'll do a survey with the property. They just want to pretty much make sure that the boundaries and the lines of the property, of the lot, is actually corresponds to what it actually says on the tax rules. Of course, they want to make sure that they're letting you borrow for that specific house and that specific size and lot size and everything. So they're looking out for you and for them, which is actually the good thing about getting financed, because when you're financing, you know for sure that there is someone behind this purchase. It's not just you, it's also the bank. That bank wants to make sure that this property is actually worth it. So they're also looking out for your own interest. So if you think about it, you'll pretty much never overpay for a house that's financed, because again, the bank is not gonna overpay. They're not gonna let you borrow more money than what it's actually worth. So think about that. So after all that is done, you're pretty much just gonna sit back and wait for the final approval, and then you're gonna have the final closing date. You're gonna coordinate that closing date with your agent, the seller's agent, and the seller, and the title company, and everyone, the attorneys involved. Everyone's gonna coordinate for that closing date. You're gonna make sure that your lender has the final approval. The lenders are gonna send to you the final disclosure of the numbers of how much the loan's gonna be, how much your monthly payments are gonna be. All the numbers written down in detail. You're gonna go over those numbers, or you're gonna make sure those numbers are the numbers that you were looking at in the beginning, and those are the numbers that you wanna have. If there's any issues with those numbers, or you don't like something, you're gonna have to speak to your realtor and speak to your lender, and some things may need to change. Let's say everything is good, so the next step is pretty much coordinate the closing date. Right now we're in 2020, so really you don't even need to show up to the closing table. Many people are doing this digitally. They can do digital signatures, and there's a lot of different platforms and softwares right now that more title companies are using, so you don't really have to be present at the closing table. But you do have to go and get the keys, so you have to find out where to get that key. Now on closing date, the seller's gonna wait till they get transferred the money from the bank. So those last moments are a little bit stressful, a little bit tense. The seller's waiting for the money, the lenders are finishing their paperwork, the bank is waiting for some other paperwork, the title company is communicating with everyone, letting everyone know what to do, if the money is coming in, it's not. Sometimes it's after 5 p.m. p.m. and the bank is closed, so you have to wait till the next day. If it's on a Friday and that happens, it's already too late. You're gonna have to wait till Monday. So make sure you try not to have your closing on a Friday. So these are all little details that your real estate agent and that the lender and the title companies are gonna help you with. But pretty much after all that is said and done, the seller has gotten the money and you got the keys. Congratulations, you're a new first-time home buyer. Yippee! Congrats, you've bought one of the biggest assets, if not the biggest asset in your life, and I congratulate you on making that awesome big step in your life. Well, I almost forgot to talk about closing costs. You may be wondering, okay, what else do I need? How much more money do I need other than the 3.5 down payment? Also, regarding that down payment, some lenders will only require 3%, some may ask you for 5%, or you may have 10%. It really depends on what kind of loan you're getting. So sometimes to put down a little bit more money helps you out significantly. So after you have the down payment money, you're also gonna have to come up with the closing costs. Closing costs can be anywhere from 3 to 4%. Closing costs usually include the following: title search, processing fees, lender fees, broker fees. The mortgage brokers, they may charge you points for finding the right loan for you. You're gonna have everything that the title company looks up. You're gonna have to pay for the survey, for the appraisal, for the inspection, some taxes, insurance, mortgage insurance. So there's a lot of different details that you're gonna see once they send you that full disclosure. You're gonna be able to see detail by detail each little thing that they're charging you for closing costs. Make sure you go over everything in detail with your lender and with your real estate agent. I've seen it happen many times, and sometimes the title companies, they didn't communicate well with the lenders or vice versa, and some numbers may be a little bit off. So you want to make sure those numbers are right on point. And don't be scared to call the lenders, don't be scared to call the title company and the closing agent and go over each little detail and have them explain to you whatever you don't know. Also keep in mind that the closing costs, sometimes, just sometimes, you can ask for the seller for credit for closing costs so they can help you out and you don't have to come up with so much money out of your pocket. So just keep that in mind. Make sure you speak to your lender and to your real estate agent about that. Alright guys, so that's pretty much it. That's from the beginning to the end of the whole buying process. I know this video has gotten a little long. I mean, it is a long process. This process in real life could take anywhere from 2 to 3 months, sometimes even longer, but sometimes it could be even quicker. Usually the closing time is between 30 to 45 days after you go on the contract, of course, because to find the property, again, it could take you a few days or it could take you a few months. It really depends. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. I really hope that you've learned a few things and you got a little bit more knowledge and understanding of the buying process. Keep in mind that it is very important to have very good communication with everyone involved. You want to make sure you know what's going on at all times. This can save you headaches, it can save you time, and it can save you money. Because if you don't do certain things at the right time, there's deadlines, and you can lose that deposit if you do something wrong or if you don't meet the deadlines or if something goes wrong. So make sure your real estate agent is on point and everyone in your team is on point. And what I mean by a team is going to be everyone involved in that transaction that's on your side looking out for you and your best interest. That's going to be your real estate agent, that's going to be the lenders, that's going to be the title companies, the attorneys, the inspector. All of those professionals are going to be part of your team, looking out for your best interests. And make sure you have a good team that you feel comfortable with. You guys all have great communication. So again, I really hope you enjoyed this video and you got great value out of it. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. I come out with really cool videos about real estate and about Miami, and I would love your support. Please make sure you like and you leave your comments about your thoughts and what you think about the buying process, or if you have any other questions that I didn't go over. I know it's a lot and there's a lot more to cover, but this is pretty much the whole basics of the buying process. So thank you so much for watching, guys. Until next time.